Good morning, everyone. Today, me and my team will be presenting the legal case Fairstone Financial Holdings versus Duo Bank of Canada. We'll do a legal analysis and court ruling. This case revolves around a merger agreement and its complications due to COVID-19 pandemic. Our team members are Rahul, Lavish, Goyal, Komalpreet Singh, and Aditya Bharadwaj. So let's move to the summary. What is the case summary? So this case involves attempt to terminate the merger agreement between Fairstone Financial Holdings and Canada of Duo Bank. However, things are turned for the worse. Like their agreement was meant to be a win, with both parties benefiting from their collaborating through careful negotiated credit terms. However, things took a turn for the worse when Fairstone discovered that Duo Bank was not holding up its end of the bargain. Instead of fulfilling its obligation, Duo Bank fell short in crucial areas, missing payments and failing to meet other key terms and outlined in their contract. This breach began to take a toll on Fairstone, causing financial strain and operational hiccups. Realizing that the partnership was heading disaster, Fairstone decided to take legal actions. They brought their case to Ontario Superior Court of Justice, arguing that Duo Bank failure to comply with contract had significantly harmed their business. Duo Bank cited the outbreak as a material adverse effect justification for the suspension. The court had found that under the terms of convention, the epidemic was named MAE responsibility. Ultimately, the court ruled that epidemic did not qualify as an MAE and that the merger agreement should be enforced. So let's move to the next slide.
Hi, so this is Aditya, and I'm talking about the slide 4. So, in early 2020, Fairstone and Duo Bank signed a merger agreement. However, by March 2020, the global outbreak of COVID 19 caused significant economic disruptions. Duo Bank attempted to terminate the agreement, arguing that the pandemic constituted at MAE, significantly impacting Fairstone's business. Thank you.
In early 2020, Fairstone Financial Holding and Due Bank of Canada entered into a merge agreement. This agreement included specific clauses about material advisory effect that could potentially void the agreement. However, shortly after the agreement was signed, the world was hit by COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020. The global outbreak led to significant economic disruption, impacting businesses worldwide. Termination attempts. In light of pandemic, Due Bank sought to terminate the agreement, claiming that the pandemic constitute an MAE that adversely affect Fairstone business. This termination attempt led a legal battle between the two financial institutions, with Fairstone arguing that the pandemic did not meet the criteria for a MAE as outlined in an agreement. Thank you so much. Now we will discuss about some issues. The main issue whether the COVID-19 pandemic qualifies as a material adverse effect under the terms of the merger agreement. Secondary issue the validity of Duos Bank attempt to terminate the agreement based on the pandemic impact on Fairstone's business. We will discuss about the sub issue 1 interpretation of the MAE clause in the context of global events. Second, determination of the threshold for an event to be considered on MAE. Third, assessment of Fairstone business performance pre and post pandemic. Sub issue 4 impact of the pandemic on Fairstone's financial stability and operational capacity. Fifth, legal precedents concerning MAE clauses and their applicability to this case. Sixth, evaluation of US bank conduct and good faith in attempting to terminate the agreement. Seventh, and last would be consideration of temporary versus permanent impacts on business performance. Now we will move to next slide. Uh, Court's decision ruling. The court ruled that the COVID-19 pandemic did not constitute an MAE under the terms of the merger agreement. Key points. Interpretations of MAE clause. The court interpreted the MAE clause narrowly, determining it did not include the pandemic. Termini impact. The court found that the pandemic impact on the Fairstone was temporary and not enough to meet the MA threshold. Present analysis. The court analyzed previous case law and determined that the pandemic did not cause a fundamental change to Fairstone's business. Risk allocation. The court noted that the risk of external economic factors such as pandemic was not intended to covered by the MA clause. Good faith. The court assessed US Bank conduct and determined that it was not acting in good faith by attempting to terminate the agreement on these grounds. Now, my friend Rahul will continue with the next slide.
Okay, so let's talk about the rationale basically. What were the reasons behind the court's decision? So, a recent court decision that revolves around the interpretation of a material like MAE clause in a merger agreement. This case provides a significant insight into how court evaluate unforeseen events that may impact a business fundamental. At the heart of this case was the MAE clause, a critical component in merger agreement designed to address situations where unforeseen events subsequently after the fundamental conditions of the business being acquired. The court's task was to determine whether the event in question were severe enough to evoke this clause and potentially disrupt the merger agreement or not. So let's talk about the precedents, like legal principles. The court undertook a meticulous analysis of the language within the MAE clause. Such clauses are intended to cover events that significantly affect the business's core assumption of operational stability. The examination involved assessing whether pandemic, which undeniably impacted many businesses, rose to the level of severity required to trigger the MI clause. That's why that court decided their decision. That's the main thing. So let's talk about precedents. In its deliberation, the court reviewed previous case law concerning MA clauses. This review was essential to understanding the thresholds and standards that have been established in similar cases. By examining these precedents, the court aimed to ensure consistency and clarity in its decision by making process. So, in the interpretation after thorough consideration, the court concluded that although the pandemic had a notable impact on the business, it did not meet the stringent criteria set forth in the MAE clause. Specifically, the court found that the pandemic effects, while significant, did not fundamentally alter Fairstone's business to the extent required to invoke the MAE clause under the terms of agreement. The court determined that the impacts were temporary and did not represent a fundamental shift severe enough to meet the contractual threshold for an MAE. So, in essence, the decision underscores the importance of clearly defined terms within merger agreement and highlights the court's role in interpreting these terms in the context of established legal precedents. So, what is the good faith that the court concluded that Duo Bank attempt to terminate the agreement was not made in good faith and was an opportunistic move rather than a genuine response to an ME. This is the main thing. So, let's move to the next slide. This is the whole area like where there are basically three questions which we have to answer like according to our course. what constitutes a material adverse effect in legal terms. The material adverse effect, we can say MAE, and MAE typically refers to an event that significantly impacts the target company's financial health or operational capacity, altering the fundamental assumption of the transaction. Basically, MAE is the company has to provide a genuine reason instead of providing like a COVID-19 like a situations. If they are really facing such kind of issues, then it can be considered for them. So the next question is, how did the court interpret the impact of COVID-19 on Fairstone's business? The court determined that although the pandemic had an impact, it did not fundamentally change Fairstone business or financially condition to the degree necessary to qualify as an MAE under the agreement. As I told you, like MAE is a term in which they have to provide a genuine reason, but the court think that they are not providing a genuine reason. They are just taking an opportunity to get some money from them. So the third question is, why did the court emphasize good faith in its decision? The court emphasized good faith to highlight the expectation that parties to an agreement should act honestly and not use external events opportunity to escape contractual obligations. So these are all the question answer which we are thinking like are really important. So this is the whole thing what we are talking about. Thanks a lot for watching our presentation. We hope we has covered all the essential points which are needed to discuss about the case. Thank you.